everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Mackenzie and this is Sorority Recruitment 101, the only channel that's dedicated to answering the questions you may have about what it's like to be in a sorority in college and what it's like to go through sorority recruitment at a big university. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that I went to the University of Alabama and I rushed as a freshman and ended up dropping my sorority. I ended up deciding to re-rush as a sophomore, and that's what today's video is all about. I'm going to tell you exactly what it was like re-rushing at the same university as an upperclassman. Before I jump into today's video, make sure you subscribe down below if you're interested in learning tips and tricks about sorority recruitment, or if you're interested in hearing stories about my experience being in a sorority at the University of Alabama. If you're interested in hearing about my story rushing as a freshman at Alabama, I will link that video in the card above. Alright, now let's get into re-rushing as a sophomore at the University of Alabama. The first things I'm going to talk about is everything that I was completely nervous about. So this time around going through recruitment, I wasn't as nervous for the actual recruitment process just because I had been through it before and I knew exactly what to expect this time around. But there were three big things that I was actually kind of worried about. One of them was being an upperclassman in an all-freshman pledge class. The second thing I was nervous about was having to go back to the sorority I ended up dropping. The third thing I was nervous about was possibly getting my last choice house again. I honestly was considering not even rushing at all, and these things were really big factors in that. But seeing my roommates and their experience in a sorority at Alabama, I knew that I definitely wanted to try and re-rush again, so I tried to have a positive outlook and kind of just went into it hoping for the best. Convocation was the same, where all of Panhellenic Exec introduced themselves. I met my Rokai and my Rokai group. I walked into Coleman Coliseum and went to find my name tag on a seat. Once I got there, I realized that my name tag was a completely different color than everyone else. At Alabama, the upperclassmen have a different color name tag, just so it's easier for girls to identify who's an upperclassman and who's a freshman. It does kind of make you feel like an outcast a little bit, but it really isn't that big of a deal. It's just a different color and no one really cares. A lot of the freshmen will ask you why you have a different colored name tag, and then you just say that you're an upperclassman and upperclassmen have different colors, and it really isn't that big of a deal. I wake up the first morning of open house and I'm not as nervous as I was the year before, just because like I said in the beginning of this video, I knew exactly what to expect. I knew the door songs were going to be loud, I knew the houses were going to be crowded, and that it was going to be hot outside. This time around, I also knew exactly what to pack in my bag to help me feel my best and feel most confident when going into a house. Going into the houses this time around was actually so much fun just because I met so many people in so many different sororities throughout my freshman year. My old roommates and all of my friends from freshman year were all in different sororities, so it was really comforting walking into a house and seeing a familiar face. When I would go into a house, I would actually be talking with girls that were my age, which was really great because I was able to relate to them and they were able to relate to me. It was really great meeting people who were the same major as I was, so we could talk about all the classes we took the previous year and what classes we're looking forward to taking this year. Being a sophomore really wasn't any different. The only question I got asked that the freshmen weren't asked was why I decided to wait until sophomore year to go through recruitment. Now, you guys know that I went through rush as a freshman, but I actually decided to wait to tell the girls in the house this information. It's definitely a personal preference, and that was my decision on it. I wanted to wait until a little bit more into the week, until I started building relationships with people and feeling like I had a connection with the house. If you're a sophomore re-rushing watching this video, definitely let them know when you want to. You could tell them right away. You could tell them on the last day of recruitment. You actually don't even have to tell them at all. It really is none of their business, and it really isn't that big of a deal. No one really cares if you went through recruitment freshman year and decided to re-rush. They're just happy to have you there and excited to welcome you into the house. When they did ask me that question, I just told them that I was trying to focus on school my freshman year, and since I was coming to a college that was really far away from my hometown, I kind of wanted to get assimilated and find my way at the university before joining a sorority. As the week went on, I actually got more comfortable and it was easier for me to come out of my shell in the sororities that I really liked. The second thing I was nervous about was having to go back to the sorority that I dropped during the first round of open house, because in open house you go to every single house on campus and I had to go back inside. I was in that sorority for a few months, so I did know a decent amount of people, and that's what made me nervous because I didn't want them to think poorly of me. I had nothing against that sorority, it just wasn't the right fit for me, and I just didn't feel at home there. Going back into this house during the first round of recruitment sophomore year was definitely an experience. If you guys want a video hearing all about that, comment a pink heart emoji down below. Now talking about the third thing I was nervous about was history repeating itself and I would end up getting my last choice house again. But this year I kind of knew how to navigate recruitment better and I knew exactly what I needed to say to let sororities know that I really liked being in their house. But as the week went on and we got into the later rounds of recruitment, I was getting asked back to some of my favorite houses and I was so excited just because last year that wasn't the case. During the last 2 rounds of recruitment, when I was in the houses that I really, really liked, I definitely told them things like, I really feel at home here. I was so excited to see you guys on my schedule, just so they knew how much I wanted to be a member of their sorority, and I enjoyed coming back to their house every single round. Recruitment was really fun this year just because I knew exactly what to expect, and I kind of was a mom to some of the freshmen in my Rokai group. It was really cute because they would ask me questions about campus and about what it's like to go to school here and about football season and just about all things going to the University of Alabama. For some of the girls I was really close to in my Rokai group, I did tell them that I rushed the previous year. A lot of them would ask me which house I was in the year before, but I honestly did not want to tell them. The reason for this is because that sorority that I dropped was just not the right fit for me. It's a great sorority and has a lot of great girls in it, but it just didn't feel like home to me, and I didn't want my experience to skew their decision making. But we got to the end of the week, it was time to vote, and I was so excited that I was finally done, and I was going to have a whole new sorority the next day. I woke up the morning of bid day just as nervous as I was my freshman year, but I knew what was going to happen is going to happen, and I was still excited to find out which house I was going to get. Like the previous year on bid day, we found out what sororities our Rokais and the Panhellenic exec were in, and they gave us speeches and wished us the best in our new chapters. After that, they counted down from 10 to 1 and we opened our bids. This time around, I kind of opened it a little slowly and hesitantly just because I was, again, super nervous. I opened up my card, and I saw that it said, the Sisters of Chi Omega would like to offer you a bid to join their chapter. I was ecstatic just because I loved Chi Omega all week. The girls I talked to were also genuine and so nice. I loved their philanthropy. I love what they did for campus and for the Tuscaloosa community, and I could not wait to join this amazing chapter. After we all opened our bids, I hugged the girls in my Rokai group goodbye and went to find my new pledge class. Everyone was so excited and we couldn't wait to run to the house. When we got to the house, I found the sign with my name on it, met my bid day big, and got my bid day bag full of our jerseys and our hats and other gear with our Chi letters on it. It was also really great because my family was down for bid day since we had to move into my apartment. So they got to experience it with me as well, and I was so happy they were there. Remember in the beginning of the video when I thought I would be one of the only upperclassmen in an all-freshman pledge class? My luck, one of the first people I met was another sophomore in my pledge class. I was so excited to meet another sophomore right away, and we later learned that there were actually 7 of us in our pledge class. It was so great to have such a big group of sophomores, but to be honest, I forgot all the girls in my pledge class were actually younger than me. You honestly forget that they're younger than you sometimes, and you have your sophomores in your pledge class, and also the pledge class above you kind of takes you under their wing and kind of initiates you into their pledge class as well. I was really happy with the way the actives treated us as sophomores when we came in an all-freshman pledge class. They didn't treat us any different, and they were just as welcoming to us as they were to the freshmen coming in. I was so happy I decided to re-rush and that I didn't settle my freshman year in a house that just wasn't the right fit for me. Rushing as a sophomore was honestly so much fun, and if you're a sophomore that either rushed freshman year or didn't rush freshman year, definitely consider rushing as a sophomore just because it's a lot of fun and you already know campus and the sororities so well. If you guys have questions about rushing as a sophomore, definitely comment those down below, or you can DM me on Instagram, which I will link in the description box below. Alright you guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope you learned a little bit more about what it was like for me to re-rush at the University of Alabama. As always, make sure you subscribe down below and click that notification bell so you never miss a new video. Also, if you want to join our Sorority Recruitment 101 family, definitely follow us on all of our social media, which I will link in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.